So 5 more teams with more potential than Villa, which we'll discuss in a moment. He's seething, evidently, but seething about what, do you think? Because he seems quite relaxed about the performance. This can happen. You can lose a game like this. He's seething about other things.
It looks that way. He looked really angry. And it could be whether the injuries, maybe another one added to the list with John McGinn today, missing Boubacar Kamara, they're massive players, Onana as well, who's missing. Is it the sale of Daniel Marlon? Is it him speaking out to say to the owners to say, look at my squad, I need more players? I don't know, it was a weird interview, to be honest. You thought he'd speak more about the game and a missed opportunity of closing the gap on Arsenal, and to then say there's 5 other teams that with more potential, it's weird.
Yeah, it wasn't quite Rafa Fax or Kevin Keegan. I'd love it we beat them, but it was certainly one of the oddest interviews I've ever seen. The bit at the end when he's saying, he just goes quiet. It was a very sensible question by Peen. She wasn't asking anything difficult for him. I don't know what really he's trying to allude to. It was. I guess he's just genuinely devastated with that performance and the result. And he's trying to obviously maybe a message another way that, they do need players. And we looked at, Ashley and I, well, 3 of us looking at as the game was going on, we looked, OK, what have Aston Villa got to bring off the bench? They were short. They haven't got the options. Elliott hasn't worked out. He's not on the bench. Sancho was ill today. So they didn't have the normal potential to bring players on. It looks like Kamara's going to be out for a long time. Look, I'm not a knee surgeon, but it's one of my speciality subjects is knees, unfortunately. And John McGinn looks like he's got a major problem with his knee that's not going to be fixed in a couple of days. I hope it is, and I hope I'm completely wrong. But it looks like that's going to give you a problem. So they will need 100% to strengthen in that midfield area, because you could see today, Wendy is a player I really like, but he didn't, with 20 minutes to go, you can see he was tired. And normally, he's a manager that loves that 70-minute mark to bring players on. You go left back. He'll change it and bring on midfield players. John McGinn will do 70 minutes. He'll come off. So they're right now, they are bare bones. They need a bit of help in that area.
Let's explore that then. They are down to the bare bones. That presumably is where the real frustration has come from. So why move Marlon on this week? You could argue why move Marlon on at all, except the feeling is he might fit between different positions, really. But why move him on now if you are down to the bare bones?
No, that was one of the things that we spoke about, Marlon moving on, and especially this early in the window. Maybe if they knew that he was going to move on, then maybe they would wait until towards the end of the window. If, like you say, they didn't know the injuries were going to come to John McGinn today. They don't know, Boubacar Kamara. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. It's just strange to see a player go so early. Yet you come out and do an interview and you say that basically we're down to the bare bones. And you look at the bench and Hemmings, young player coming on, which obviously was fantastic for him. But Unai Emery must be looking and thinking, I need to get players in, but you wouldn't move someone on unless you've got players coming in. So unless that's what he's trying to say, that we need to get players in, or he's got some sort of thinking that he's bringing players in. It's just a strange one that Marlon's already left in this window so far.
They've sailed very close to the win, haven't they, with financial fair play over the last few years. So whether they feel that might be an idea just to get some money in. In terms of the loan system, last year they were brilliant at it. They brought in Rashford and Asensio, who were really good. They made a massive difference to this Villa side in the January transfer window. They're going to have to have some imagination again and bring a few players in just to help. But the hard thing is now, it's like you show your hand now, because as soon as someone knows that you've got a problem with John McGinn, or if there's an injury to Kamara, that price then goes up. Oh, we want to buy him, 20 million. OK, well, he's 30 now because we know you're desperate. So that becomes a difficulty for Aston Villa. But it does feel like that. I didn't like his resignation that we can't win the title, because if they win today, they go 3 points behind Arsenal, I think.
They would have gone 4 points behind.
4 points Arsenal, So they are, and they've been magnificent. They have been a joy to watch this season, but that was a really odd interview. But, look, this is emotion now we have to talk about. He's low. He's feeling desperate after that result. So they've got to pick themselves up. They go to Newcastle next week. It's not an easy game either.
Do you think, when he says there are 5 teams with more potential, you may look at that table and tell me which those 5 are, Ashley, I don't know. Reading between the lines, there are either 5 more teams who have more money to spend in a transfer window than us, or there are 5 more teams who are allowed to spend more money in a transfer window than us.
I think that could be the possibility where he's looking and thinking, there's 5 other teams that can actually spend in this window.
I mean, Chelsea have been linked today with paying 60 million quid for a centre-back from Rennes.
Of course, and, if he's Unai's going to be looking at that and thinking, well, other teams have got facility to be able to go and buy players. And, with all the rulings that are surrounding the club, and they can't be bringing in players because if they do anything, they could be fined and deducted points, then, he's probably looking at and saying, and that's why he's come out in the interview to say there's 5 other teams with potential. And I don't think it's potential that their squads are better. Because, you look at how Aston Villa have done this season. They've been phenomenal this season. You look at their home form here, it's been terrific. But then I think he looks at the squad and he looks at other teams and it's, they're able to spend and, we're not able to do this. So, like I said, it's a weird one with Marlon leaving now.
Yeah, it could be that, Ash, couldn't it? Because you look at he probably thinks Man City, it's a level playing field, and all of a sudden they go, right, there's Semenyo, and Gay looks like that's going to get across the line as well soon, so it makes it a lot more difficult for them.
The other thing with him, though, we've seen plenty of managers over the last month do their interviews and press conferences and it's sending a message upstairs. By all accounts, and you know how this club works and you know him, he's in full. He may have a director of football and so on and so forth, but he has the keys to this club. He has been he runs this.
Yeah, I think for what he's done since he's come in and changed the football club from where it was at to where it is now. There's been Champions League football here, obviously Europa League now, but he has changed the club and that's been through himself and obviously sporting directors and the owners and whatnot. But he's the one that's really got the keys and he's got the final say-so to greenlight whatever it has been. So, if he's leaving himself short, you'd think, well, why have you done that? Or is there something, like you say, underlining where, they're not able to go out and get players because of certain rules that are in place? And, like we say, it was a weird interview and, of course he's now showing his frustration. It is January, so maybe it's him turning around and saying, look at what I'm dealing with. Look what I've been left with. I need help. I need players. We're
seeing some astonishing interviews from players, though, from managers. I mean, if you think about it, with Amorim, Maresca, even Glasner yesterday, the way that he's speaking about, what, and there's always messages in what they're trying to say, and it was an unusual one today because I thought he could have just said, OK, didn't do the business today. Didn't get the win, didn't perform, we go for next week. But there was obviously something there that's on his mind. He wants to talk about it. I totally get. Listen, don't get me wrong. They're in a fight to win the title. But then you're also looking over your shoulder and you think, well, if Michael Carrick keeps playing players in the same position, they're not going to be on 35 points for long. They're going to go up the league, and all of a sudden, can Liverpool then go on the run? This is so compact and congested. All of a sudden, a couple of wins back to back, everything can change, and he's well aware of that. But I don't want to undermine what Aston Villa have done. That we're talking today before the game, and they're title contenders, and they earned that right to be there. They've just got to find a way now, and he will definitely. That squad as it is now, and then you take out Kamara and McGinn, cannot win the league. Make no mistake.
But can that squad, if you take out Kamara and McGinn, still secure Champions League football? I mean, our dotted line is there with the top 4. You would expect it to be top 5.
Yep.
They've got a 7-point buffer over Liverpool, 8 over United, 9 over Chelsea, 10 over Brentford, Newcastle and Sunderland.
I think so.
That squad can still qualify for the Champions League.
I mean, it'll be such a disappointment if they don't. But, you looked at last year, they ran out of steam, didn't they? Towards the end of the season, they didn't make Champions League. So they have to be incredibly careful still. But I do believe he's an elite coach, but he will need, definitely, that squad, as it is going to be running on empty very soon because of all the games they've got to play, week in, week out. There's a lot, and even last week in the FA Cup, they played Tottenham. There was rumours that he was going to leave out half the team. Next thing he goes, pretty much his strongest team. So you are playing every player to their maximum, and sometimes they do need a rest. Other managers will leave players out because they've played 120 minutes here or there. He seems to be playing all of his players, and I totally understand it, but they're going to need a bit of help with a bit of squad depth.
You go back a year ago when they managed to get Asensio in, they managed to get Rashford in, the loan system benefited them. But they have had to, I don't want to use the phrase wheel and deal, but they have had to kind of be quite canny in how they build in particular, their forward lines each season. That must be down to the rules. It must be.
Yeah, of course. And I think if you look at it, it's the way that they've gone about the job. They've gone the loan route. They haven't been buying too many players, so you think that something is going on, something's happening in the background that we don't know about. That obviously Unai and the team are talking about, that the owners, the sporting director, are talking about, that they're trying to change, and he's going to have to probably go into the loan market again, and like we're saying, that to finish in Champions League position again. You could see players already are starting to run out of steam. They've got European football here as well. Them players, if you do miss Aboubakar Kamara for a long while now and John McGinn for a long while, players are going to have to step up. And, if you're playing in Europe as well and you're going to have to play younger players, it's going to be tough. So he's going to have to go into the loan market and get players. And, I remember, we did it here when it was under Martin O'Neill, and we tried to get into Champions League places. We finished 3 seasons in a row, and it was because of using the same players. And when you haven't got the players to rotate and freshen up the squad, it is tough, and it does come down to being able to look ahead. But when you haven't got the players, it is a tough decisions to make.
Ross Barkley will be back soon as well, I believe. So that's an extra body in midfield. Obviously, get him going. That might be someone that can
be linked with bringing Tammy Abraham in.
Yeah, Tammy would make a lot of sense, because I think because as a manager, he's detailed on his substitutions, and there are times when Ollie Watkins will get 70 minutes. He'll say to Ollie, "I need you for 70 minutes. Work your socks off," and then someone will come on. He was very much like that with John Duran, wasn't he? So he might feel that that's an option, just to bring someone just to take that workload off Ollie, because he's been magnificent. But you can't just keep flogging him. He needs a rest at times, or maybe to come off the bench like he did against Chelsea and make a difference.
And he wants a like for like with Watkins. He wants an out-and-out striker, and it goes back to the Marlon thing finally, which was there is a perception that he didn't fancy Marlon as an out-and-out striker, and he fell in between 2 or 3 different positions.
Yeah, and I think that if the Tammy Abraham thing is going to be a green light, then maybe that's why he's let Marlon go out the door, because he was like, he's not an out-and-out number 9. He's, he can play wide, he can play as a number 10. So maybe there is something in the background that is going to come to fruition sooner rather than later. And I think he's looking at that like Jamie says, that Ollie Watkins, I need a number 9, an actual number 9 that can, Ollie goes to 70 minutes and then the next one can come on and take that out. The next one starts the game and plays 70 minutes. Ollie Watkins is then fresh to then come on and score the goals. So, it is going to be one of them things where we look and wait and see. And, after the interview, hopefully he'll be able to get the players, and he won't be like that again.